your task is to bring yourself into a part, and knowing yourself and how to use yourself is the actor's life task. That's what it's not that easy. It's, the constant discovery and trusting yourself and following your impulses, and not to be trying to be entertaining, but actually, living moment to moment. And of course, making strong choices and connecting emotionally to yourself.
If you're a professional actor challenged by an increasingly fragmented industry, then this podcast is for you. The Hollywood Actor Podcast is an anthology made up of the stories of actors building their bodies of work by redefining themselves, reframing their goals, and reevaluating their opportunities. No matter where we are in our careers, we're always looking to be inspired and to share ourselves across our community. This podcast will offer that opportunity to guests and listeners alike as we all discover what it means to be a working, professional, successful actor. This is Jamie Young, and you're listening to the Hollywood Actor Podcast. My guest today is Ilia Volok. Ilia is an actor based in Los Angeles and a lifetime member of the Actors Studio. Ilia has appeared in countless television and film projects, with recent credits including McGyver, The Last Ship, and the studio film Hunter Killer opposite Gerard Butler and Gary Oldman. He currently appears in the Netflix series The Punisher and in the upcoming FX series Oh Jerome No. And if you're in LA, please check out his ongoing scene study and technique workshop. Now let's drop into my conversation with Hollywood actor Ilia Volok.
When did you start learning to trust your impulses? Where did you begin your training?
It's a good question. I mean, it's the training. Well, I studied in Moscow Art Theater back in Moscow, and I started opening up more towards the end, like maybe in the third year. Out of 4 years of study, I started probably towards the end of the third year. I was sort of like, I felt that I, could do stuff, and, felt the potential. And, but of course I had to make the whole adjustment. I came to the United States right after I graduated from Moscow Art Theater, and basically I started everything from scratch. I didn't speak English, so I had to, I wanted to continue my journey as an actor and become. That was my dream, to become a working actor, and so I continued here in the States, and probably 3 years later, after I came to the United States, I started getting booking jobs, and but the discovery never ends. I mean, you go through phases. You go through periods of time. You might doubt yourself more, and then you go through a period. Everything's happening, it's great, and then you go. But I guess the important thing is never stop. Keep the process going.
Persevere.
And that's because it's a and that, as far as just even for the inner work on yourself, even for yourself, you're working on some kind of a exercise, or you just I remember always, like, Michael Chekhov was in one of his books, he was giving an example of this exercise. You go on the street and you imagine somebody else doing something, the guy you suspect in something. So you follow him, and he created like the whole. It's basically it's never the work on yourself never ends. It's not like you going from 8 or 9 to 5, and then you're done with your work, and I think the work of an artist never ends. and it's a constant process of igniting your imagination and working your imagination, and um, working in your craft, whether it's observing people or watching great actors do their work, or and seeing if I could do this, or trying to, trying to, uh, for yourself, replay something, some scene from, or try to see, oh wow, that was interesting. Can I, if I put myself in those circumstances, and I'll do something like that? What I'm saying, we also find our own way. Everybody find, as long as there is that hunger for this artistry, to constantly working on yourself as an artist, you could find all kinds of forms how to approach that.
And you
You
do
know,
sound like
whether you not,
quite
yeah.
the artist.
I think well, I think it's, I think it's important, because that's what I think, have your passion. That's what your passion keeps moving you
Yeah.
in that direction. Yeah, it's not like, okay, I'm gonna, yeah.
No.
Go ahead, I interrupted you, so go ahead.
I'm completely there with you. I'm thinking of how the artistry itself is what really fuels us, and how
Yeah,
the
yeah,
film industry, when it turns into a business, and how we're trying to fit ourselves to the business model, and how that model right now is kind of changing underneath everybody, from entry level actors to
yeah,
studio heads. That how do you balance your
yeah,
artistic life with the business world, and how do you keep in that sweet spot
yeah.
where you don't disappear as an artist, but um, you don't over manufacture for the industry as a businessman.
It's always a battle. Yeah, it's always two opposite sides of being an artist and a business person. I think um, it's and the industry, from what I understand and what I see, it's constantly changing. Yeah, what doesn't change is your dedication and commitment to what you do, uh, because the well, it could take all kinds of forms, yeah, and it gives you, puts, certain demands on us. But I think, again, I'm talking strictly because, there's a lot of aspects of, okay, how do I get an agent? How do I get a good agent? How do I get this audition? How do I, that's another part of that. Yeah. It's the business part of it. But, you know, the main, I think we, first we have to make sure we have this hunger, no matter what level we are at, higher, in our careers, or just the beginning, that hunger for uh acting every day, creating
Yeah.
something inside of you, or trying to put up a little play, or if you go into class, you come up with a scene, that thing. I think that's important. um, if we don't have that hunger, then I don't think it's, you could sustain yourself for a long time in this business. And as far as you never know which. First of all, you never know how they're gonna look at you. What in people who are, making decisions, or producers, or you don't know what they how can they use you, or what do they see in you. It's hard to guess. Yeah, it's just your job is to really um, be truthful to your character, to yourself, and discover yourself as far as uh, the craft to the fullest degree. And and then it's a separate thing dealing with the business side of it. It's got. I mean, I was just talking. It's always going to be changing. I'm talking about so the person gets I don't know, millions and millions likes and on Twitter or followers on Twitter, yeah, and they might not necessarily be an actor but it's a business uh, model that people look at. I mean, but that you can't. I mean, you can't change that. Uh, our job as actors, we have to work on our craft, and then you know, the business part. Either we have to work with somebody who's like really, you know, smart in that, the manager, or also get that going by ourselves.
And everybody has to start by ourselves until we start amassing that team, those people that do have industry insight and experience and can vouch for us.
Yeah, but it's all yeah, and it's also like it's like two separate. It's like again in the actor's studio, yeah. That's not a place for you to get a job. Also, like through some connections, whatever. But it's not a place for you. It's not designed for people to get jobs. It's designed for people to work for the process. It was originally designed. The mission is to put up work, to critique, it's a place to work out. Yeah, it's not the place of people. You could get a job. Somebody could hire you. It's not really for that, at least now. Yeah, and then and I guess that's two separate things. How we, I don't know, the people who work, who could give you some suggestions about your image or about how to market you. Those are different. That's a different.
But
Yeah,
but
it's
you've
like a
been
different
negotiating
part of
that since you
this.
came to the States.
I'm a LA-based actor, but I also go and if I book a job in New York, I do a job in New York, but um, it was mostly it was here in LA. It's I just happen to also do theater, try to do theater whenever I can. And I never I never left that. That's why I wanted. That's why I wanted to become a member of the studio, so you could constantly be in the process of that work, putting up scenes, and yeah. So that's but I'm based was based pretty much all my life since I came to America in here in LA.
Gotcha. And was there one project that was particularly momentous in your career that kind of maybe kicked you up from co-star to guest star, or made you drop theater for a time, or
It's I think I'm a typical an example, I guess, of this what they call a journeyman actor. Um, you go from those uh, from a job to I mean, it's I never. I mean, there's a lot of I've done overall. It's probably I've done close to 160 films and TV altogether. Yeah, and for this, and it's but it's been always. I know, as far as the theater, it's kind of it's always, it goes parallel. There's something always, you know we're working on. Like now working at the studio. We're putting up these Chekhov pieces. Um, one of his. Well, we've done a number of scenes from different Chekhov plays, and me and my partner, we have this idea. We're putting this evening of mostly it's Chekhov and one Gogol piece, like one from the Three Sisters, one from Ivanov. With the marriage proposal, so it probably is going to be three actors involved. But anyway, what I'm saying is that's always in it's always going on unless I have to cancel. Sometimes I have to cancel this scene because I'm we're out of town working. But it's a pretty much ongoing process, and it's interesting as far as the um, I guess also because I fit into a certain category, with people with foreign, Eastern European, Russian. You get so. Me personally, I don't look at it. Oh, I'm. If this is the co-star or it's a guest star. I mean, sometimes they write a scene in particular. They uh, how to put it? They give the billing for it that it's a co-star, but in fact, the size of it is a guest star. It's all very relative. You know what I mean? Uh, yeah, so I don't look at it unless there's like a one line. The guy comes in and says, "Okay, here's the Dan is probably." But I don't really. First of all, to me, it's work is a work. I'll I'll do a co-star. It's just I will just my manager or whatever my agent will say, well, okay, so we don't disclose the it's called no quote. You don't disclose the how much you got paid or whatever. You know what I mean? For the because you've done the better paying gigs, so you don't want to go back.
Yeah,
You
whether
know
it's
what I
scale
mean?
or
So
what
they
they're negotiating.
with yeah. So but basically, but that's I look at it this way because to me, the job creates job. I don't look at it like this way. Oh, he's done a co-star, and then we're not gonna bring him. It doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't work like that. I could, technically, I did let's say something on Criminal Minds. It's technically they put it as a co-star, but actually the size wise it was like a guest star scene, and but then they, for example, they offered me like a guest lead without auditioning for this other show. So this business is like not really uh, I wouldn't worry about those um, certain parameters they try to put you. I mean, you're an actor, and you make it you make a living in this business, and you do try to do the best that you can and make the character the most interesting character. So I mean, I wouldn't.
No matter what, it's not like you're being very calculating about moving up the ladder, not doing things that you have done in the past, but you're approaching all work as work because that's what the last relationship helped build towards. Not necessarily something larger or more meaningful, but it's just another job, and you're going to put your heart and soul into that next job anyway.
Exactly. Well,
Okay.
yeah, especially and also especially in my particular case. My
I
particular
love that.
case, I think it's a certain
That makes things a lot,
you know
Ilya. That
it's
makes things
and
very,
also
very much more
yeah
clear to me. As an entry, I still feel like I'm
yeah
still finding my footing as a professional actor, and that's extremely encouraging. The way you're
yeah
talking about being a journeyman, and that's what I'm talking about when we're doing this, the Hollywood Actor Podcast. I'm
yeah
really trying to
yeah
understand for myself and
yeah
for the community what being a Hollywood actor means.
yeah
And I think you're really helping to identify that, even in this tumultuous times where there's
yeah.
roles that are being diminished or expanded, different platforms, different opportunities. The fact that you're throwing yourself
That's right.
100% into everything, no matter what, you're just parlaying the relationship into whatever job you've been afforded.
I think it's yeah. I think it's the right way. I think it's the right way to. Well, I don't want to say right way. I just feel that, and I heard from agents. They say, well, so we wouldn't necessarily, we have to draw a line where to send you for the ghost. I said, well, I don't look at it this way. First of all, you never know from what that smaller role what could come up. Second of all, I make a living. I make my insurance, you know. And uh, here's the example. I was in New York doing like I don't know if it was written the one day, guest star or whatever, a scale. Man, ended up being money wise 3 times of the amount because they went over time, this and this. I don't, I didn't calculate that. I just saying, oh wow, I mean, that stuff adds up, especially when that stuff is that, especially for the all these years I've been making. I mean, it's important. Maybe some people don't think about it, but person who pretty much making a living at this, you have to look at that stuff. I've been making the medical insurance number one plan. They have like two plans or whatever for all these years. All these years, I was qualified for number one plan because I don't look at this because I've known people say, oh no, I'm only doing this. I'm not doing that. Wow, and they fell off. They kind of. Do you know what I mean? But even you look with the bigger names or big names who used to be and I think the attitude really hurt them, like you don't really even see them anymore, big stars,
I can see where it
like
comes
you don't
from actors that are starting out their career when they've done so many projects that are for free because people are promising them exposure and IMDb credits. So when they're really starting to plug into the Hollywood film industry, they say, okay, now I'm not doing things for not free, but just for scale. If they've done a
yeah,
lot of co-stars, they're going to start negotiating, or they're going to say, I'm not doing
yeah,
co-stars anymore. I don't want to be known as a co-star actor. But and I can see how that comes from that sense of, I want to be adding value constantly to myself.
yeah,
But at the same time, I like what
yeah.
you're saying about at least you're working, at least you're exposing yourself, at least the artistry isn't shrinking.
But also, yeah, Jerry, but also I think also we have to look at it, in my, because look, I'm falling into a certain category, yeah. So yeah, I'm saying this because okay, the co-star, there's the Eastern European character, yeah? So okay, I do that, and let's say somebody who's casting a lead, and they're not gonna see it at me saying, "Oh, Ilia's done co-star," then we won't bring him to do this guest lead because first of all they know me that I could do guest lead, but also because I'm I fall into this category that they really, I mean, knowing that I'm pretty decent actor, so they will still bring me to the guest lead or a lead, despite the fact that I did do you know what I mean, the co-star. I mean, maybe when in the broader market, I'm talking about the regular American roles, maybe it's a little bit different, but I still think your attitude, your if you concentrate on your skill, on your the working on your craft, and I think that's the most important. I don't think anything could really uh, you know hurt your career if you're gonna. I don't me personally, I don't think if you're gonna take smaller roles, it's gonna hurt your career. I mean, it's gonna prevent you if you have potential, it's gonna prevent you from moving up.
But you're right. Some agents do try to talk to their clients about that. They try to say, maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we should push you for these larger roles. Try to ingratiate you into that new
That's
area.
great.
But
No,
why do you think they
that's
suggest that?
great.
Is
If
it
you
just
could, yeah,
because I mean, I understand why they'd want to pitch people for larger and larger roles because they're a business. They're trying to earn money.
yeah, of course,
But
yeah,
then if a client's not
yeah.
working, in the meantime, doing co-stars, guest stars, but they keep pitching them for series regular, keep pitching them for pilots at pilot season. If they're not working in between, uh, is that helpful to the agent either? Because people aren't even seeing that person's face
Well,
anymore, let
exactly.
alone the agency's earning money.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess they're afraid that the casting directors will know. Okay, that's a co-star thing. I think it's pretty. How should I say? A limited view. To me, it's like, um, in life, if you see, I don't know. I'm just trying to look at it a little bit from like outside
Right.
this industry. If you see interesting scene, and there's like in let's say in supermarket, somebody's arguing, somebody da 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 da, da, and then and then there's one, you look at the one person and they're so, for example, horrified by what's going on, and they're so involved in it, and they're like really kind of on a corner, and but you can't help but looking at that person. I mean, it's it's a small. I mean, maybe it's like an odd example, but I'm saying it's part of the, you bringing your skill. You're living the moment. If it's even a small part, but you still. I mean, you're applying your skill, um, and you making and you earning money by doing that. It's much better than uh, do nothing. Uh, and I think the tactics of, I understand the tactics of the agents, but I mean, but I understand where they coming from, yeah. But I don't think they're completely. Uh, I don't think they cannot really completely put themselves into our
Yeah, they're
skin.
not
You
looking
know
at
what
it
I
from
mean?
all angles.
Yeah, that's it didn't really hurt. It didn't really hurt me in any way. I mean, that I was doing co-stars, and as far as I went for not as many opportunities as I wanted. For example, like series regular doesn't come up, but I went for that. You know what I mean? I was the network. I've done the network test for the big show, this and whatever. It's not really. I mean, if you good, I mean, if you know what you're doing, it's this is the way I look at it. Now, if you get, I guess, if you get on the level, okay, you got me. This is what I'm just thinking. If you got on a level and you've been on a show, like a known show, and you've been a series regular, yeah, and he had a good run, then doing a co-star. I mean, it's kind of, me personally, I don't care. I don't care. I mean, but I would understand agents saying that. Well, hold on. We don't want
Yeah, they're
to.
trying to
You know what I
capitalize
mean?
on that publicity,
Like,
that momentum.
yeah, yeah.
But if you
But
have a guest star on a show,
but
there's really, I mean, it's great for you as an actor, for your artistry and for your business, but it's not giving you a lot of cash, a lot of momentum.
yeah. I mean, but in reality, I mean, percentage. Getting on. The competition is so fierce, yeah, and it's. I don't know. I mean, I would also try to enjoy the whole process and not making. I mean, it's probably hard, but overall enjoy this ride. Like, they were saying at the studio, Mark Rydell, the director, he was saying the acting could be fun. I mean, you can be fun. You have to, yeah, I think you have to also enjoy this, ride. Whatever's gonna happen. I mean, mm, it's of course, important to
I love hearing
want,
that from you, Ilya. You're
certain
such a
things.
serious actor, and then to embrace that sheer joy of it all. That's really inspiring. That's a big part of trying to balance being a Hollywood actor.
Yeah, it's because look, I mean, it's we all go through this, I mean, rejection stuff and I was just recently, just 2 days ago, was they like I had a nice they put a pin,
Yeah.
what they say, putting a pin on the and I was actually pretty convinced that I got it. It's like a
Hmm.
recurring, and I was one of those rare things that I know it for sure, the way. And then of course, like, oh, you have this like kind of a feeling that you never could really used to this business. It's always gonna be like, oh, but it lasted only like maybe a couple of hours
Yeah.
that evening, and that's it. And then you look at it like, man, it's just a part of the you know it's part of this ride. So you have to, I think, you have to be able to find that joy in that. And I think that comes, bottom line, I think that comes from embracing, having the passion for the craft, because I think that what makes us to move forward and persevere and
Hmm.
be in this business. Not only I would love to get on a TV show, or I mean, it's great, of course, but being an artist, I think it's
Yeah.
really
It can't
important.
all be about I just want to see
I
my
mean,
face on the
combining
television
those.
or on the silver screen. It has to be about something a little bit more to
Yeah,
keep you
that
hanging in there.
like, again, exactly. That's what I talked to Martin Landau, and I said, I don't know what I would have done without the Actor
Mm.
Studio. And he said, well, probably you would have been among those people who are here for in this industry for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So people come, for their 15 minutes of fame, and but then they get disappointed or get angry or frustrated. Um, I think it's, no matter what, you gotta love that craft and you know desire to create. I mean, I think that's the base for surviving in this
Yeah.
business.
Well, even without the actor studio, it seems like you find all the opportunities to be in theater as much as you can, and create theater. I mean, you were telling me about that one man show you did in New York.
Yeah, yeah, that's that probably, I started it here in LA a couple of years ago with the direct, and then I played it here a couple of times in different venues, and then I always wanted to take it to New York. I mean, that was like like a thing too. I said, like, oh, I'll never forgive myself if I don't take it to New York. And anyway, so I made it happen. I mean, I did all this research, because to me, New York, it was something unsurmountable, as far as, oh, how, I don't live there, I don't know, but I did all this I started all this research, calling people, finding out this, find this place, found this little theater, and that I said, okay, that makes sense, because I was basically producing it myself. You know what I mean? Like, and without, without spending, you know, I heard some horror stories with, people putting, so much money into it. So I was able to kind of, you know, make it on a really, really low scale. And then after that theater, it was in the same complex. The guy who runs the place, he offered me to do another run in a sort of like an off Broadway space. So it was pretty exhausting, but great. Experience. I went there for 3 weeks originally, and I ended up staying 4 months.
4 months.
Uh,
Must have been popular.
yeah, I stay. When well, it did well. It's from the small theater, it started like all these people and word of mouth, and I got this. They have the show score thing, and I got into a pretty high. Like they if the show gets 80, the number 80, it starts. This people start buzzing. I mean, whatever they get. So I got like this. And I got into 80, and got some nice reviews. Anyway, and then the guy, his theater was available, the bigger space, and so I went to that small space. I went to this for another like 30 shows we did. So I did altogether like 60 shows,
Mm.
and yeah, and playing every day.
Yeah.
And that was with this kind of show. I mean, it's not anyway. So and this whole thing, it still has a life on its the show. I'm taking it, and I've done it after New York. I've done it in Dubai. Somebody saw it in New York, and they invited me to Dubai.
Wow.
So I did 5 shows there. That's when we did the play. I just came from Dubai. Remember, that when we started rehearsing,
Yeah.
I pretty much
For
came
Slaughter City.
came
Yeah.
from Dubai. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And
Just came
then
from
and then
Dubai.
basically, yeah, it was funny. Yeah, and I got this. I don't know. I got this flu on the plane anyway. So I didn't start rehearsing right away with you guys. But then when we finished, I went for this TV job in Atlanta, and in New York, and I did it again for 3 shows in New York after
Oh.
we finished Slaughter
Yeah.
City. Yeah.
Well, that's great. You can it's in your back pocket, right?
Yes, basically it was. I don't need much stuff. I don't need, and it was crazy. It was crazy because I knew someone who helped me with the technical stuff. It was crazy, man. I'm looking at it, like I flew from Atlanta and 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. was my show. I'm thinking it's crazy.
Whoa.
That dude,
You're almost late
I'm
for your
telling
own
you, that
show.
dude, it was crazy. I came there, I think I came like 2:30, and we started right away. The guy saw the show. He never done my tech, but and we were able to do it. And I would do I
Wow.
did 3 shows. Anyway, and then I took it to Paris.
That's incredible. Oh, in
Yeah,
Paris.
I took it to Paris. Yeah,
Jesus.
somebody helped me. Yeah, in Paris, I did 1 show in Paris
Mm-hmm.
in that legendary little theater. They played the Ionesco plays, but that was nice. And then also I came. I went to Kiev from Paris. Did one show in Kiev, and they now inviting me back in April for I'm gonna have like a little tour, I think, in Ukraine.
Okay.
And it's actually in English. It's all in English. I'm doing it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, so that's so this show still lives. You know what I mean? Like and it's nice that people actually interested in it. You know what I mean?
Incredible.
Like it's
Wow. You put a lot of
and,
work
and
into it,
it's
and it
it's not one of
obviously
the
resonates with people.
yeah, and it's not one of your like it's a comedic like you know what I mean, like stand up kind of it's it's a heavier piece, but there is a certain, there's a certain audience for it. People, people like it. I mean, some, it's more like, I'd say, how did the guy say? It's like, man, it's interesting. This guy, the Russian, director who directed it, he said this show is, and he used this Russian word. And this guy from the American, Theater of Actors in New York, he said it's also, what's this word? Like a craft, I forgot, craftsman's piece, or like they do just, no. He says, like, if you do something just to one, it's not manufactured for, for series of,
Yeah, it's like
like, let's say
artisanal.
they do a bunch of cars. Yeah, exactly. So he was, I forgot this, so he's saying it's like that, I forgot the word. Anyway, but you know what I mean, yeah? So it's that kind of a piece, Um, anyway, so it's,
That's high praise.
but it's been an interesting journey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When are
it's been
you
an
next
interesting journey.
going to be performing in the States?
Uh, it's actually, I was thinking of just doing, because by now I figured out I did like 100 shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking maybe putting a weekend and do it like to kind of celebrate 100 shows, to do maybe, before I go to, Ukraine in April. I thought like maybe I'll do like a weekend, but I have to see with the
Yeah,
schedule.
here in LA.
Um, yeah. I was thinking just doing it for the hell of it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Just I'll let you know if I find a place and just put it up for like maybe just a weekend.
Yeah, please do, and we'll
Not
promote it
the
on the
whole.
podcast.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great.
What do you do
Um,
to?
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I really wanted to have you on the podcast, and
Thank you.
it's
Pleasure.
it's been fantastic to find out how much of an artist you really are, and how much you've been working within the industry and staying sane along the way. I wonder what you do on a weekly basis to really plug in. I know that you try to do theater and try to create theater regularly, but
Yeah.
every week, are there certain things that you try to do to try to stay healthy, to try to understand the
Uh,
landscape for yourself a little bit more clearly? Any of those acting exercises that you were talking about too? Do you practice any of those on a weekly
yeah.
basis?
It's actually it kind of became, from a long time. It kind of became part of me. It just kind of, it goes like sporadically with the acting exercises. I might, let's say if I'm coming out, and it's a sunny day, and all of a sudden I want to play with the idea that it's snowing. Yeah, so I create that, just as a fun exercise, and putting myself into that atmosphere. Or I would, maybe all of a sudden I feel like, trying something like walk like a different character. I mean, that's kind of part of, that fun in us, that, uh, you know that I it just kind of goes spontaneously. I don't really have like a set um routine, you know, and sometimes I play just for myself, with like as an exercise, like you um let's say you work on alcohol, yeah, and you create, it's one of the sense memories, one of the Strasbourg's exercise, and you start just for yourself, working on a drink, yeah, and doing specific things, and with the drink, just an exercise. I mean, with the imaginary drink, I mean, you basically that's what they call sense memory. So you also, I work on that. Um, what else? I mean, I try to catch up on my reading because I I have so much stuff I want to read that I haven't read, and that's and also I mean, there's so much that I want to do that I haven't done, like writing some stuff and lots of ideas, and I'm working one of my for this year. I wanna do for the Diary of a Madman. Actually, I wanna film it, but not as a play because it's been done several times. I filmed it as a play, yeah, but uh, actually do a film, you know, on a lower budget, find a way to, but do it as a film.
To wrap up the podcast episode, that's what I've been finding. My trying to balance here in Hollywood. That health, that artistry, that business acumen, and it seems like you've done that from a very solid training program in Moscow to really plugging into the film industry here and keeping balanced within the industry and working on theater and your own theatrical projects. That's I mean that is the ideal Hollywood actor. I'm so glad that we were able to interview you today,
Thank you.
Ilya.
Well, it's all. Um, I think the most important thing is to, again. I mean, I'm probably going to repeat myself, but not to get caught up in this, so to say. Because for so many people it's a different thing. What is the Hollywood actor's image? It's not to get caught up in that, but just be connected with the artist within you, not to lose interest in creativity, creative projects, and in life in general. And I think um, appreciate every opportunity we're given and try to build on those opportunities. I think that's um, I remember. I probably it's a good thing to finish with. Somewhere I read, starve the ego, feed the soul. I think. I think because I mean, ego is a huge part of it. I mean, but I think it's also finding the balance where you're not really. It's not all about you. It's you know it's a complicated thing because we were so self-centered as actors, artists, but at the same time we need other people to be interesting. We need to connect, we need to listen, we need to respond, and I think uh, that's something we need to nourish in ourselves.
Yeah.
you
Well,
know
so often we're told that we're doing it wrong, that we don't fit. No, no, no. It seems to be taken very personally by us instead of us listening to the
yeah.
true artists around us that are so encouraging, so life affirming.
Well,
And
it's
I
true. I
can't
mean,
thank you enough,
you
Ilya.
have
It's
to
been great to
also
have you.
kind of take it with a grain of salt. Like who says that and what are those people, and and you need to also, that's what I'm saying, that's so important to work on yourself and to know yourself. If you know yourself and your strength, then if you know yourself and your strength, then those opinions, I mean, you would listen to them, but you would listen to yourself more. You know what I mean? You say, okay, I understand that, but I know something they don't know. You know,
Mm.
I think
Gaining that confidence of what we actually can contribute.
Yeah, and knowing, growing and knowing yourself and trusting yourself, and not being okay. Somebody said this. I mean, you listen, you take, be able to be strong enough to be able to acknowledge the good, in what they tell you, for example, but also to not devaluate your own knowledge and your strength and your, impulses. We're all in the same journey, in the same boat. We're just finding our own little ways, you know, and trying not to get discouraged doing that. I think it's important.